everybody, welcome to Aspects Land of a Changing Man. My name is Gold and I'm bringing you another episode. I hope that everybody's having a good night, and I hope that your night last night was good as well, and I hope that everybody has a great weekend. This is a show about my perspective, basically giving my opinion through things that I've been through or things that I've seen and learned from other people that could be a problem in relationships, and hoping that we can get to the root of the problem, pull it out, and replace it with something positive so that we can move our statuses of relationships into forever status. So again, if you want to hit me up, you can do that. My email address is mplsmikid at either yahoo or gmail.com. My Twitter address is at mplsmikid, aka GOL. And if you want to find me on Facebook, you can go to Aspect Slant of a Changing Man. That is the page for this podcast. And if you want to go on YouTube, you can go to Aspects Land of a Changing Man, and that will give you every episode that I've done. It might be in two or three parts, but it will be every episode that I've done on that page as well. So again, hope that everybody's having a good night. If you like the show and how it's going, you can go ahead and hit the follow button, and that will give you updates on every episode that I have coming up. If you like the episodes, definitely hit the like button, and that will show me that you appreciate the stuff that I'm talking about as far as the show. And if you want to, you can go ahead and download the episode, and you can listen to it offline or even give it to someone else as far as something that they can listen to. And this is for information to be given to others so that we can help them out if we see problems that are occurring. And yesterday's show was about stop looking at obligations and show appreciation. Because basically, I feel like we get to the mode where we get light on the way that we show how much someone means as far as value to us. So they don't really see everything as far as being appreciated from their partner, and people throw out obligations that make them feel like they're not able to move on when they actually are not obligated to stay in a relationship with someone. And with today's subject, I wanted to talk about something that I feel like a lot of people are doing these days. They're looking at things and they're saying, since it's not my fault, I'm not going to do anything about it. Or it's not my problem to worry about. I was on Facebook today, and I had a friend that put on a video, and the video actually said, is this what we're doing in high school? This is wrong. And the video had two guys that were dancing very sexually. It was an act out, but it was like, couples dancing, a sexual couple dance. And I know that a lot of videos have been, been told as a lie. I seen one that was like Money Mayweather dunking at 40 years old, and I was like, man, this is amazing. I'm going to share it. And then the guy was like, no, that's somebody else. And I was like, man, I don't like the internet. People lie to me all the time. But in that video, I felt like I wanted to give my opinion about it, and my friend was like, I want to know what song this is playing. And I looked on there and I was like, man, I wanted to give my opinion, like, man, this is bad. But I seen that he was like, well, a guy was like, man, is this really what they're doing in high school? And he was like, well, it's not my problem, I'll let God handle it. And the one thing I feel like that a lot of people do that when it comes to other people's situations. They don't want to help out. They're too busy. They're too busy. They're scared of a person responding back to them in a negative way, or they just don't care. I picked up a new habit when I'm out and I'm not doing anything, if I'm at a bus stop or if I'm at a store and I'm just sitting there for a couple minutes and I'm on the outside and there's stuff to, there's stuff sitting around, cigarette butts, alcohol bottles, um, trash, paper, paper, anything that I see that is like not there. And the thing that makes me, irritated is one, I used to be the person that used to throw my cigarette butts just right on the ground, or I used to throw my trash somewhere. I used to ride in a car and, just because I didn't want to hold my cup anymore, I used to throw it out the window or let it just drop out the window and act like I accidentally did it. So if the cops pull over, I could be like, oh man, it was an accident. But I'm looking at these places and some of the trash is right by the garbage can. So that's telling me that people didn't have the decency to even throw their trash in the garbage can that's right by them. And I took it upon myself to say, this might not be my job, but I feel like it's something that I should do, just to pick up the trash because other people are looking. Kids are looking at what we ignore, and they'll go and pick that up, and they'll remember that they picked it up, and later on be like, okay, this is something that I remember. I was at the bus stop the other day, and there was a kid running around, and the mom is smoking a cigarette, but she tells the son, hey, go throw this away. But he kept running back and forth. And between the back and forth that he was running, there was a whole bunch of cigarette butts on the floor. There was trash on the floor. So before he started running over there, I was already picking up the cigarette butts. But it actually hit me like, man, what if he actually decided that he was going to pick up a cigarette butt and do whatever with it? That would bug me. I see a lot of parents, as a parent, we go inside of our houses and we don't leave stuff around that our kids can get to because of the fact that we know that they might not have the knowledge to not put those dangerous things in an area where they could be harmed. They could swallow bleach or, pour it in their, or it can, fall in their eyes or anything else. So we try to keep these kids away from these dangers that we know can be harmed if we're not paying attention to them. And I feel like that should be done on the streets because kids are looking at this stuff and we're just standing there. Most of the people are just standing there waiting for somebody else to pick up this trash that a kid can pick up and put in their mouths. Or a kid can look at it and be like, okay, later on, I'm wondering why these are always around. I want to see what these are all about. Everybody else is enjoying it. I want to see what it's all about. And that's the thing about, being in that type of situation is if you ignore something, you feel like it's not going to be able to happen to you, but it actually could happen to, it actually could be brought into your area. I'm a comic book fan, very big comic book fan, and one of the most relatable stories to what I'm trying to talk about is Spider-Man. And if everybody's seen the Spider-Man movie, they know his origin story. He got bit by a spider and he went to go, he found out he had these powers. Well, he wanted to go to a wrestling arena to make some money. So he lied to his uncle, said he was going to the library when he went to go do this wrestling arena. And the guy that was doing it cheated him out of some money. So he ended up walking out, with a grudge on him, not wanting to do something to the guy. But a robber walks in and tries to, and robs the guy. And he runs right past, Spider-Man or Peter Parker, whichever you want to call him. And the guy comes out the door. He's like, stop that man. And as he's running past Peter, he looks and sees it was the guy that cheated him out of money and was like, just let the guy pass. And when the guy was like, why didn't you stop him? He was like, it's not my problem. Well, if you know what happens afterwards, the guy that actually robbed him um, ended up in an incident with Peter's uncle Ben, and Uncle Ben ends up getting shot and killed. And Peter felt bad for that because of the fact that he could have stopped his uncle from being killed, all by not being so mad at this guy that he wanted to let the other guy get hurt. So in ignoring a situation, it actually backfired on him to, cause him harm. And he wanted to, because of that, he wanted to go look for the guy. He wanted to, hurt the guy, and kill the guy actually, because it was his uncle. It was like his dad. The guy raised him, but he ended up realizing, the guy, it was his fault. It was his fault, and he could have stopped it just by stopping the guy. But he decided he wasn't going to do that. All off of vengeance of this one guy that cheated him out of money. In different situations, it could be, what you cause can come back to you. You reap what you sow, karma, whatever you want to put it as, it can come back to you just because you're ignoring a situation, just because you ignore something, just because you ignore that kid that you could have gave a ride to, or you could have said big ups to, or talked to about being sad. He could be the guy that actually does something later to someone that and you could have stopped that. You could look back and be like, man, I should have talked to that kid, or man, I should have did this, but we end up not doing that, ignoring the situation, and it ends up backfiring later on. So, I'm looking at these situations of beer bottles and beer cans, being left on the streets where kids can pick it up, and we're like, well, somebody will pick them up, but yeah, the kids will probably pick it up, and then later on, because you think that it's not your problem, those could be the kids that pass an alcohol bottle to your kid, and anything happens after that. So you have to be we have to be careful. There are other countries that look at the situation here like, I gotta help this situation. Anything can happen. A helping hand goes far if we're able to help someone else, but we got to be willing to do it, because we never know how that can turn back on us if we don't. So no matter where I am, no matter what I'm doing, no matter what situation I'm in, if I'm just sitting there and there's nothing for me to do, I'm either going to read my Bible or I'm going to pick up trash. Because one thing is that the cleaner it is, it could be somebody that, is famous, that could help somebody out, that doesn't want to step on that street because it's too dirty. My mom drives an Uber car, and she makes sure that, the car stays clean, because somebody could step in and change her life, or somebody could step in and change somebody else's life, but they might not want to get into a dirty car to get to somewhere fast enough to meet that person. So my mom has to be able to get these people to want to even give her money by being in a clean car. So she always makes